Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and if you have any opinions at all you would like to share, leave them down in the comment section. Declan McKenna. What do you think about the car? Declan McKenna is an English singer, songwriter, musician who's really starting to gain recognition. He initially rose to fame off of his debut breakout single Brazil in late 2014, which managed to peak at number 16 on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart. This album I'm reviewing is his debut album, released back in July of 2017, and yes, I will also be covering his album Zeros when it comes out. This album was recorded over the span of 2 years, mostly in his bedroom while he was still in school. Declan himself mentioned that this album is him being playful and positive about not-so-happy topics. So just how well does that statement hold up? Let's find out as I review it track by track. We'll start off with the singles, with there actually being 6 of them. The first one being his previously mentioned breakout hit Brazil, which during this review I've probably become addicted to this song. I just adore the riff of this track. It's got this airy quality to it, and the drum work helps to form a very infectious groove. Declan has this youthful exuberance to his voice. It really does stand out from everything else on this record, especially with some of the voice cracks he has while he's singing. Lyrically, it's surprisingly mature for his age at the time, about the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil, and the corrupt minds of the officials there, and also about the state of poverty in the country itself. I adore this song, one of my favorites here. The second single, Paracetamol, is an extremely deceiving track. For one, the synth work feels very two-faced. It could be interpreted as positive, but also have a bit of a depressing tone at the same time, and that pounding drum during the verses makes the song feel like a lot more of a groove track than it probably should be. Especially regarding these lyrics, which were inspired by the story of a transgender girl who ended up committing suicide due to her parents not accepting her. With this track also dealing with the misrepresentation of the LGBT community and how the media doesn't seem to quite understand it. I love this song as well, 100% worth a listen. The third single, Bethlehem, tones things down a little bit, especially with just how dour that guitar riff sounds. The groove slowly comes back through the remainder of the cut, building up to that final chorus with this full blossom of the instrumental. It's very pleasing to listen to, and lyrically, unsurprisingly, it's more of a religious track, just about the grip that religion tends to have on war, hatred, and violence. Certainly not a bad track at all. The fourth single, Isambard, opens up with these very chippy, pixelated synths sounding like an old video game. Then the real instrumental kicks in and it has a nice rushing urgency, and Declan's vocals really lean more towards the pop side of the spectrum rather than some of the indie rock on the previous singles. And lyrically, it's very socio-political from the point of view of the stereotypical right-wing Fox News reporter dealing with police brutality and xenophobia. Surprisingly very relevant in this current day with all the protests and the murders and stuff I'm not really that qualified to speak of. But this is another track I really enjoy. The fifth single, The Kids Don't Want to Come Home, is a little bit more of a pop-leaning track in general, despite its 5-minute long runtime. Declan's vocals feel pretty upbeat as this fantastic instrumental just makes it such a good track that you can just drive down a highway to, with its very appealing yet shrill guitar riff and pretty bouncy percussion. I also really like the outro. It's silly, it's fun, maybe a little bit too long for more casual listens, but I can look past that. Lyrically, it's about how the youth are usually excluded from any political discussions and really don't have a voice. Another fantastic song, also worth your listen. And the sixth and final single, Humongous, is a bizarre opener on first impression, with just how quiet everything is, contrary to the title. The guitar feeling pretty somber as well, and then that chorus kicks in, and it's this grand, soaring, yet still calming arrangement, with Declan flexing his louder vocal presence. And sure, the track is another 5 minutes, but I still don't see an issue with that length, as he's singing about living as a teenage songwriter in the past, finding it hard to properly accept criticism, but also accepting overwhelming positivity. Now, growing up, he's slowly starting to understand himself more. Great song, great opener. Now for the rest of the tracks. Mind is probably one of my least favorite tracks here. Not to say that the track is bad, far from it. I adore Declan's voice in this track, and his melodies are very engaging, and especially on that chorus. The instrumental is also pretty nice with those repeated blossoms on the chorus, but these verses do feel pretty slow and a little bit tiresome as well, but I can still muster up a good groove from this track. And lyrically, Declan mentions that it recalls a lot of his happiest moments. I still really like this song anyways. Make Me Your Queen opens up with this very calming, heartwarming acoustic guitar that crescendos at the very end of the track into this cacophony that sounds like demons who were locked up finally being let out. Declan's vocals unfortunately remain the same throughout. I personally would have loved to hear them build up into a giant cry, but regardless, I still enjoy his voice, so I'm not complaining too much. Lyrically, it's a slight bit more generic, just kind of about a relationship that turns abusive, as the whole queen dynamic in this case means being in the king's shadow, so the title is meant to seem more like a surrender. Not a bad song though, I really enjoy it. I Am Everyone Else definitely has some of the most indie rock vibes out of any track on this record. Also one of the most solid grooves too, which is especially present when that synth line comes in. However, Declan does sound just a bit more tired on this track, making the song feel that bit more of a chore to listen to. I mean, at its core, it's kind of just a standard indie rock song. There really isn't too much special here. Even lyrically, it's kind of just about how people can say whatever, but not everyone can understand it. To be honest, this is probably my least favorite on the album, and I can pass on this one. Why Do You Feel So Down features some very nice synth work. It's almost like a build-up to this engaging tempo with this muted guitar riff and energetic percussion. Declan's vocals on this track are probably some of the best on this entire album. It just blends in so well with his instrumental, and especially on that chorus. I also really enjoy that breakdown near the end. It feels very elegant, relaxing, kind of adding this extra cherry on top to a great song. And lyrically, it's actually just about joking, making fun of himself. Declan actually said that about the track. And I really enjoy this one. Nice groove, almost dancing in a way. And finally, the closer, Listen to Your Friends, is fittingly the ballad of this album, opening up with some very somber strings that bloom with his percussion into a melancholic groove that's extended by Declan's more sincere vocals. He's really singing from the heart with this song, and I also like how it becomes more of a spoken word passage in the second half of the track. It feels very fitting as he's singing about these people only really listening to their friends, and while that may not be a bad thing, it could be very easy for them to mislead and manipulate you. Great closer, great song. Overall, I'm really amazed that I missed this album back in 2017. For being an indie rock album from such a young mind, it's surprisingly mature in its socially conscious lyrics, and also for having very engaging tracks with solid grooves all the way throughout. I am absolutely positive that this would have ranked among my favorite albums of 2017. So in that case, I'm feeling a strong 9 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.